Okay, so I want to remind you that we do have some accessory organs that are going to help us with the process of digestion in the small intestine. One of those accessory organs is the pancreas. So we're going to spend a little bit of time here talking about the pancreas. This slide is mainly just to show you some of the anatomy where the pancreas lies in the body. So you can see the pancreas, it's this kind of yellowish colored um, organ that is lying, well, it's a gland, I guess, that's lying behind the stomach, kind of behind and below. Here is another uh, view of the pancreas. Okay, and what the pancreas is going to do is it is going to create some secretions that enter the duodenum. So those secretions travel through a duct, which joins the duodenum, and our secretions enter the duodenum at that point. Okay, and we have two main secretions that we're going to be making. Those are digestive enzymes and bicarbonate. But before I get into the details of that, let's just take a closer look at the anatomy of the pancreas. Okay, so if we take the pancreas like this and we take a cross section of it like this, we're going to see something that looks like this. Okay, so we have kind of two main structures, I guess you can say, in the pancreas. Okay, we have these what are called islets, which are collections of endocrine cells that are going to be secreting hormones into the bloodstream. So that's where insulin and glucagon are going to come from. I'm not going to really talk about those yet until we get to metabolism, but just want to mention those now. Uh, the main ones that we're going to focus on here are these exocrine structures. Okay, so we have these kind of, I don't know what you call these, bubbles, lobules, um, that are called acini. Okay, and these cells are called acinar cells. Okay, and they're exocrine glands, so they're going to secrete materials that will then go along this duct to later be deposited into the small intestine. Okay, so we have two main cell types that we want to be looking at here in this exocrine part of the pancreas. We have the acinar cells, which are these right here that kind of are along the acini. Okay, and those cells are going to be secreting digestive enzymes. Okay, and then we have another set of cells, these cells that line the duct that leads to the duodenum. Those are called duct cells, and they secrete bicarbonate. Okay. Also, I guess since we have three cell types listed here, I guess I should mention, which I already mentioned, but I'll mention again, we have these cells in the islets, the islet cells, and those are going to be secreting hormones. Okay. All right, so let's take a closer look at the processes of secretion in these exocrine cells, the acinar cells and the duct cells. Okay, so just starting with the acinar cells, I want to remind you that the acinar cells are going to be secreting enzymes. Um, and what I want to say about those enzymes is most of them are actually secreted in an inactive form. The inactive form we refer to as zymogens. Okay, so those are shown right here. This is a list of zymogens that are secreted by the pancreas. Okay, those zymogens then, at the time that they reach the duodenum, they then become activated and become active enzymes. Okay, so this figure shows that process, right? So over here somewhere, not shown in the figure, is the pancreas. What we're looking at here is the lumen of the small intestine. Here is the wall of the small intestine. And our zymogens are going to be entering the duodenum here via this duct that comes from the pancreas. Okay. Um, they enter in zymogen form, which I think I already said, but anyway. And then what happens is they become activated, and this is how they become activated. Actually, one of the zymogens that we have coming into the pancreas is called trypsinogen. It's inactive, okay? It gets activated by these enteropeptidases that are located in the brush border of the small intestine. It turns into an enzyme called trypsin, and then trypsin then goes on to activate all of these zymogens and turn them into these active forms of these enzymes. Okay. These active enzymes then go on to digest various molecule types, such as fats, proteins, and carbohydrates um, in the small intestine. And we will be talking about that in a little bit. Okay, so that was our enzyme secretion. Now let's take a look at our bicarbonate secretion by the pancreas. I want to remind you that bicarbonate is being secreted by the duct cells of the pancreas. I also want to say a few things about why that's important, or really one thing, right? So the main reason that we have bicarbonate being secreted by the pancreas is that we have acidic contents coming into the duodenum from the stomach, right? So remember that the stomach has a pH of 2. That's really low. The chyme that's coming in from the stomach also has a really low pH, and that very low pH has a potential to damage the epithelial cells of the small intestine wall. Okay, we don't want that to happen. So what we do is we neutralize that acid coming into the duodenum by adding bicarbonate to it. Okay, so that's the purpose of secreting bicarbonate into the pancreas. Okay, so now let's just take a quick look at the mechanism by which bicarbonate is secreted into the pancreas. You can probably guess what that mechanism is based on our bicarbonate secretion in the various other cell types that we've seen so far. There's a lot of detail here that I don't really want you to pay attention to. Main thing is that we use carbonic anhydrase to convert H2O and CO2 to H plus and bicarbonate. Then what we do is we pump our bicarbonate out into the lumen of the pancreas, okay? Well, really the duct that's leading from the pancreas to the small intestine, okay? So the bicarbonate gets secreted there through the apical membrane, right? And then at the basolateral membrane, we are going to pump our hydrogen ion out, okay? And then we have various other things that are happening with that, but don't worry about that.